Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Thank you for joining us. Dark Horse Comics is here live with YouNeek Studios. Very excited to have these guests with us today. We actually did a stream almost exactly a year ago with Roy and Sukami. So very happy to welcome them back. And now we also have Morby with us. I would like to first introduce Roy Okupe. Roy, would you like to say a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Hello, everybody. My name is Roy Okupe. I am the CEO and the lead writer at YouNeek Studios. I founded this great company in 2015, and I did it because I wanted to create comic books and animation that featured characters and stories that were inspired by African history, culture, and mythology. Because growing up, I didn't see stories that featured people that looked like me, stories that featured characters that were inspired by African culture. And, so far we've been able to do a lot of stories like that. Some of you know us for characters and stories like EXO, The Legend of Wally Williams, Malika Warrior Queen, Iyanu, Child of Wonder. And even today, we're celebrating WindMaker Volume 1 as well. So very, very excited to be here today. Very excited to obviously be partnered with Dark Horse on this journey now. And we're extremely excited to talk about some very, very, very awesome things that we're not only obviously bringing today, but in the future as well. So stay tuned, and we hope you have some very interesting questions for us, because we have some very interesting answers for you as well. So so let's get started.
Yeah, so Sukami, would you like to go next? Just introduce yourself a little bit.
All right, hi everyone. My name is Akimbo Sukami. I am, let's say, the lead artist at YouNeek Studios. I drew the EXO books. I did the Malika Volume 2 and the WindMaker books also. That's mainly by me, in conjunction with Morby, the colorist. I started working with YouNeek right from the beginning. I think 2015. Started working from EXO, the first comic book, and it's been a great journey so far. And I can't believe it's been a year since we did the first live stream. Yeah. If you didn't say it was a year now, I think maybe it was like 5 months ago.
Yeah. I'm measuring it by Roy's family actually at this point. I can't believe it's been almost exactly a year, but so it has. Yeah. Well, welcome also to Morby. Thank you for joining us. Would you like to introduce yourself a little bit and what you do at YouNeek?
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Morby. I'm the color artist for a number of the YouNeek books, and I did a number of the promotional posters for the series, and and I also did the concept arts for the world, especially in the WindMaker book that we're celebrating today. So it's been an interesting journey. So glad to be part of this. So glad to be part of making African culture a reality in entertainment with YouNeek. So yeah, that's awesome. So I'm glad to be here.
Thank you all again for joining us. I'm going to turn this whole discussion over in a few minutes here to Roy to lead and kind of discuss all things WindMaker and YouNeek with his team. But before we get into it a little further, as we have said, we are celebrating especially the release of WindMaker Volume 1 this week. It's now out in comic shops and bookstores. So wherever you get your comics, wherever you get your books, if they don't have it on the shelves, just ask. Bookstores and comic shops can definitely order for you. Comicshoplocator.com is an excellent tool for finding comic shops near you. Also, a lot of them have online ordering now. So if you don't have one near you, you can still get it that way. Also, all major bookstores, Barnes & Noble, Amazon, Indigo in Canada. We do have global distribution. Roy might actually know a bit more about distribution in Nigeria, but we should have our books accessible wherever you are at. Like I said, comicshoplocator.com is a good one for comic shops. Then there's other tools like indiebound.org, which can help you find bookstores, independent bookstores in your area as well. We do encourage you to shop local, of course, if you can. We do have some chat rules, so please just remember to be excellent to one another, be cool in the chat. Please ask questions as we go along if you have them for the YouNeek Studios team. Any questions about the books we're discussing, about the YouNeek Studios line, about Dark Horse, I can try to field some of those as I can, but we're trying to focus on the YouNeek books today. So please ask Roy and team your questions as we go along, and our moderators will be taking note of those and passing them on to us. With that said, we are going to dive into all things WindMaker, especially. And I believe we want to start with a little bit of background info too. So Roy already kind of introduced a little bit about YouNeek Studios. But if you could say a little bit more about, how we became partnered, how Dark Horse and YouNeek joined up, and kind of what we are doing, what we have released so far, we could start there.
Well, how much time do we have? Just kidding.
In brief.
Yeah. So, like I said, YouNeek Studios, we started in 2015, obviously self-publishing. I want to use this opportunity to not only thank Sukomi and Maury because they've been a huge part of our success, but there's a lot of other artists that aren't here today that, I'll be remiss if I didn't mention. People like Ayodele Elegba, Raphael Kazim, Etubi Onucheyo, Tarala Pablo, and Chimakalu, Godwin Akpan. These are, a lot of Nigerian artists that have helped to, bring YouNeek Studios to what it is today, because it's a collection of so many people that have contributed to the success of YouNeek Studios over the last, I would say, 5 to 7 years that we've been, working together to get this, project to where it is, today. So I want to celebrate, African and specifically Nigerian art, as it stands, first and foremost, before celebrating YouNeek, because like I said, as it stands, the continent is a place that's full of talent that is not always celebrated for what it is. So I want to take a moment to just really celebrate these people. So to talk about where we're coming from, like I said, in 2015, I started this company as a self-publishing, brand. And for 5 years, what I wanted to do was create a connected universe of stories that featured individual series, like I said, EXO, which is a sci-fi superhero story that takes place in a futuristic Lagos, Nigeria. And then you have something like Malaika, which is a pre-colonial historical fantasy story featuring a warrior queen that's inspired by the real African Queen Amina of Zazzau. And then something like Iyanu, which is more of like a, young adult story that features heavily, Yoruba history and culture that takes place in a medieval Yoruba land as well. So individually, these stories are things that exist on their own, but again, all takes place in what we call the YouNeek universe. So individually, these series are ongoing series, but they all are connected in what we call the YouNeek universe. So for 5 years, these stories have been ongoing, but they are all leading up until somewhere that I'm taking to hopefully where these characters can collide together in an event series. So in 2020, Dark Horse approached us, obviously, to be able to partner in a way that we can sort of come together and sort of start again, where we republish these books and move forward together. So we partnered with Dark Horse in 2020, and we republished EXO Volume 1, Malaika Volume 1, Iyanu Volume 1, and now we have WindMaker Volume 1, which is a brand new series that we never pre-released before, and now we're moving forward with brand new books in the future. So for fans of YouNeek Studios who had never, bought our books in the past, when we re-released our books, we added bonus features that they had never seen before. So people that had bought our books had something new to buy when they released Volume 1 again. And people that had never seen our books before, they had something to look forward to with brand new content. And now with the release of the WindMaker, we have old and new fans having something exciting to be able to look forward to with the release of WindMaker today as well. So, like I said, we're really excited with where we are today with WindMaker, because like I said, it's a brand new book that we haven't released before. It's something that old and new fans can be excited about. And we're just excited about the future and where we're going with this Dark Horse partnership now, where we are moving forward with Dark Horse.
We are super excited to be getting into the WindMaker now after all those previous books. Somebody was just asking in the chat where they can get them. All of them are available wherever comics and books are sold, as I was saying. So whatever your normal bookstore is, if you have a comic shop, ask there. If they don't have it on the shelf, they can always order for you too. So WindMaker this week, widely available. Yes, someone in the chat was also asking about the digital version. That also should be updating. It may just take a little bit because Wednesdays are new release days. And so it can take a little longer for all those things to populate. But the book should coincide with the bookstore release as well. So let's see, what do we have next? Oh, yes, I wanted to see if Sukami and Morby could tell us a little bit more about how you joined the YouNeek team before we dive further into WindMaker itself.
All right, so 2015, funny enough, when I started working with Roy, I had actually just taken a decision to stop drawing comic books. Yeah, funny enough. So when Ayodeji Aleba came to meet me and said, "Oh, there's this guy, he wants to do something new." I was like, "Yeah, we know." Yeah, he wants to do African comic books. I was like, another one. I spoke with Roy, and it seemed quite legit, so I gave it a shot, and it's been one long roller coaster ever since, and it's been an amazing experience working with him. I can't see how much I've grown since I started working with Roy. I gave myself a test just last week. I took a page from some other comic book I'd done like a couple of years ago, and I said, okay, let me try and redraw it. And immediately I opened up the page, it looked like crap. I was like, wow, all this, it goes to show, because I mean, Roy keeps me on my toes. He sends me script that if I had hair, I would pull it out. Sometimes I read the script, then I call him, and I just talk for a long time. And he's very good at something. He listens. He always listens. But somehow he still gets you to do what he wants you to do. So it's been interesting. I still owe you, Roy, for those armadas, those alien armadas you keep having me draw.
Yes.
Crowds keep having me draw.
A thousand of them per panel.
Right? 1,000 people in the panel. It's fun to write. I gotta choke you for that one though. But yeah, it's been a wonderful experience, and I look forward to many more years doing this.
Morby.
Yeah. So I think it started in 2019. I remember Mr. Ray just reached out to me and told me to, cover a couple of pages for EXO. I'm not sure what volume that was, but it started there, and of course it was like a few pages. I guess it was just testing the waters and testing my capabilities then. And of course then I really thought, I had, as it were, learned everything I needed to learn and was like capable enough to be a comic artist and all that. But like Superman was saying, he had his own growing to do, and 4 years down the line, I realized that I've also had my own growing to do. So I know we started officially from 2020. That was when you signed me up to be in the YouNeek family, and it's been a real growing process. I've learned a lot about working in a pipeline, as it were. Being professional, being consistent, and maintaining, emotional beats and stories and all that. So it's really been it's been a good one since 2020. So so that was my story. And then I remember that just recently gave me the opportunity to work on doing some concept arts and the promotional illustrations. And that one too was like a big one for me, because I feel like it's a big deal that my art was used to promote this deal with Dark Horse and YouNeek. So that has been it. It's been a good one past years, and I look forward to to better and better stuff.
And Moby is being humble because within that period, he was also nominated for a Ringo Award as well too. So let's put that out
that
there.
was really good.
Let's put that out there. It's not all thanks to me, it's thanks to you. So let's put that out there as well too.
Well, I'm going to, as I said, kind of let Roy take it away. With all that said, if anybody does have questions about the history, the making of this partnership as we go along, please feel free to ask in the chat, but please take it away, Roy. We are going to take a deep dive into the making of WindMaker Volume 1, which is out now wherever comics and books are sold. And we are starting to get some questions about WindMaker specifically. So I'll pop those in as we continue this chat.
Yeah, I wanted to just give a background on WindMaker itself, just like a little synopsis. So the story obviously follows the titular title, WindMaker, and it takes place in a fictional West African nation, called the Republic of Atala, and it kicks off where you have, the spirit of the WindMaker reincarnated in our hero Bo. But the twist is that it gets reincarnated in Bo, who serves as the chief security of the dictator of the nation. And the point that I'm trying to make here is the cost of blind loyalty. Is that what is Bo going to choose, right? Is he going to choose to continue to be helping a man that is the dictator of a nation, or is he going to step up and truly be the hero he's supposed to be? I think that this is something that we can all relate to, is that at some point in our lives, like, we all have to check our loyalty to people and see, where do our loyalty lie? Are we going to continue to help people that have checkered past, or are we going to help continue to align ourselves with people that are doing certain things that we don't necessarily agree with, or are we going to step up and challenge these people that have different opinions or have different ways of handling things that we don't necessarily agree with? So that's sort of like what kicks off our story. But to dig a little bit deeper into the actual creation of the WindMaker, and I don't know if we can share some of these slides. One of the key things about Atala itself is that it's heavily inspired by Yoruba culture and Yoruba mythology. One of the things, that all of us here share, Tony and Moby, and Sukomi and I, is that we're all Yoruba people. And this is something that we're very proud of. Something that we share. So we really brought that to the table when we were, creating a lot of these different things. And one of those things that is prevalent in this book is the floating palace, which is sort of like the presidential villa of the Republic of Atala here. One of the things that you can see from the floating palace is, if you look closely at the base, you can see one of the things that is actually lifting the structures for the tubes is something that we call the Eyo statues. The Eyo statue is from something that is a celebration in Lagos called the Eyo Festival. The Eyo Festival is something that goes on every year, that features something that we call the Eyo masquerades. As well. So these are some of the things that you begin to see that, that I hinted here and there, that were fitting into different parts of the book. Even like the things that actually levitates the structure itself, like the heads, the floating heads themselves, are actually inspired by Yoruba face masks as well too. So you can see little details like that here and there are fitted all through the book. So I don't know if you can go to the next slides. If you go to the vehicles themselves, if you look at the floating vehicles, if you look at the rims of the floating vehicles, they're inspired by the Yoruba beads. Like if you look at Yoruba people and ceremonial beads that they wear around their necks, like the rims of those vehicles, they're inspired by the beadings of that as well. And these are some of the things that, like, even for me, like, that's something that Toyin came up with. I didn't even tell him to do that. I just saw him design a floating vehicle for me. Like, I wasn't even thinking about that. And, you know, it's so funny that when he sent this to me, right, I sent it to Sukomi, and I was like asking Sukomi, you know, okay, what do you think about this? And I was like, like, I didn't even notice that. Sukomi told me, like, oh, if you look at the rim of the floating vehicles, it's inspired by Yoruba beads. I was like, oh wow, I didn't even think about that or whatever. So these are little things that some people don't even notice, and it's something that if you look at the trains as well, too, like you can see signs of those beadings around the option 3 as well too. It's something that Sukomi and we talk about a lot. Like, it's funny, like when he mentioned something about us arguing a lot, like when he comes to me and he tells me that, oh, like, why do I have to draw 1,000 droids on a panel or whatever? And I know we joke around about that. Sometimes he'll come to me and he'll ask me, Roy, why do I know about the 1,000 androids in the panel? Like, sometimes he'll come to me and say, Roy, why do I have to change this or whatever? And sometimes I'm like, yeah, go ahead and erase that. But sometimes I'm like, sometimes the reason why I feel like we have to address something that maybe not a lot of people will see, or only one person will see, is because that's the amount of detail we have to go into for us to stand out from everybody else. Because I feel like, for me, that's the level of detail I feel like we have to go to for a unique book. Like, that's just the way I was taught how to create, not just comics, but like, that's how I was raised. Like, if you're going to do something, do it well. If you're going to, whether it's comics, whether you want to be a doctor, whether you want to be an engineer, whether you want to be somebody that picks up trash off the streets, whatever it is that you're going to do it with excellence. And that's what I've taken into creating comics. That's what I'm going to do. Whatever it is that I'm going to be doing, that's always what I've been taught to do. And this is what I always try to do with my team. And that's what and if you ask them, that's the way that I always try to do what I do. And that's why, like, with authenticity, that's the same amount of energy that we put into every single thing that we do. And you see it all across our books. And that's what I feel like when people come back to me, even with the chapter breaks, when people read what we do in the breaks of the chapter and they see, oh, like, the people come to us and they tell us, when you explained where this came from in 1970 something, this is where the inspiration for the African kingdom. Oh, thank you for telling me this, because I never knew this about Africa or West Africa. This means a lot to me. I know where this came from, and it means like that connected to me. Like, that's what some people take from that. So, like, that's actually where it comes from for me. That's why I do that, and this is what we're going to continue to do, because it means a lot to people.
You're absolutely right. I've seen a lot of those comments, Roy, online, from fans. And I think it's really appreciated. People tend to compare things to things that they already know, but it's so much more fascinating to understand, truly where you're coming from and where these inspirations are coming from. And it is new to a lot of people. So,
right. Yeah.
We're already getting some questions, as I mentioned. I'll give you a couple of the chat questions to kick off, actually, if you would like. Go back over to the right screen. Will the new WindMaker's powers be the same as the original WindMakers, or are they different?
Yeah, so at a base level, they're going to be the same, but they're going to be a little bit different. I can't go into too much detail because I don't want to spoil a lot, but if you've read some of the other books, you're going to understand why they're going to be a little bit different. And I can't say too much without spoiling a little. Even, let me see. Okay, even if, yeah. So if you've read Malaika, you will understand why it's going to be a little bit different. That's all I'll say.
You have to read and find out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We're getting a few more kind of detailed questions, so I think I'm going to save those for a bit later as we get a bit further into this WindMaker chat.
Sure.
So that we can avoid, spoilers too.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good question too, though, actually. Just coming up, it's obvious you grew up on comics, so when did you realize you could create your own? And I think that's a good question for each of you, actually.
So, Kwame, do you want to go first?
When did I realize I could create my own? Wow, what year was that? I think I was in secondary school. I think I'm SS1. Before then, I was the guy who everybody came to draw. I mean, Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter was all the rage, at that time. That was around the early 90s. And everybody wanted me to draw their own version of Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter, which, yeah, it was fun drawing that, in boarding house. Also in SS1, that's when I think I really started trying to do my own stuff, but not even commercially. I just wanted to write my own stories. And I'm not proud to say I didn't have any original ideas. Somehow every idea I came up with was actually something I just finished watching or just finished reading. But yeah, with some time passed, and I got more involved in stories. I tried writing my own novels. A lot of them have vanished now, but I still made friends from secondary school who still tell me they still remember the novels I wrote. I don't, and they still tell me it was great. I disagree, but it's a journey, and right now I'm really settling into the kind of stuff I like to create as a creator by myself, the kind of stories I like, which is something that will probably come up, some other time. Have a couple of stories I'm working on with Roy helping me out also with it. But yeah, regarding creating, that's how Comeback has started. Yeah.
And for those of us in the US, when Sukomi says SS1, that's grade 10. Sorry. That's what it means. That's what it means by that. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Morbi, you don't want to go next.
I was thinking about to translate that to the education system there, because mine is similar to, I think mine started in SS1 too. So thanks for helping us out. So that's grade 10. So but before then, I mean, Super Strikers, the football comic from, I think, South Africa, allegedly.
It's so not allegedly. That was like that's where it's from.
Okay, because I mean, so thanks. But I know from secondary school, because I'm reading Super Strikers from primary school. So when I go to secondary school, my brother and I will do our own, basically, copies of Super Strikers, very unoriginal comic books on exercise books, Shabara and all that. But I didn't know that it was a thing, because it was always a mystery, like how did this, and then there was bits of the Western comics, the iconic superheroes and that. But I didn't, it was always a mystery to me, like how was this thing done, and it didn't strike me as something real until I attended a Comic-Con here. That was the Lagos Comic Convention in 2012. That was the first time I met a lot of people, fellow Africans and Nigerians that are into this thing. So I know I met, or let me say, I saw Sukomi there, but we didn't really meet like that. I don't know if you remember when you were like doing this drawing competition with Toby.
Oh, yeah, we're drawing.
I think it was Hope or something. Yeah. So I mean, but then you guys, your drawings were like, I didn't even believe that amount of detail was possible on a paper. It was just mind blowing. And then I know from that day on, I treated art like a thing, like because it's grade 10, so you have 3 years before you leave this secondary school system. So I was like, in 3 years' time, I want to be able to do this thing, at least to some level of proficiency and all that. So I connected with the communities that do it on Facebook, on Twitter, and then from there, I just started, developing it consciously. And I was fortunate enough to attract a number of people that do it very well, and some people gave me opportunities to learn and intern and all that. So, but that was my story in comics.
Awesome. And another translation: secondary school means high school.
Hopefully, get that one.
There you go. There you go.
How about you, Roy?
When did I first realize I could create comics? That's actually a really good question. I didn't realize that until I moved to the United States, honestly. I literally didn't realize that until I tried to do animation and I failed doing animation. And it was like, well, if I can't do that, then I might as well try to do comics. I mean, I'm not joking. Like, so when I tried to I created an animated short in 2012 for EXO, Legend of Wally Williams, which ended up being my first comic. And I took it to LA and I tried to shop it for 2 years and it just, nobody knew what to do with it at that time because this was before, Black Panther became a thing. So nobody was really treating, African content like what they see it as right now. So it just really didn't go anywhere. So in 2014, I just decided that, well, what is it that I can do with what I have in my hands? Okay, so I have an animated short. Maybe I can turn that into an animated trailer and use that to promote a graphic novel. And at that time, Kickstarter was becoming very popular. So I just put 2 and 2 together. If I can make this a Kickstarter video and promote it as a comic book, maybe I can stand out from every other comic that was promoting stuff as a comic back then. So I just retrofitted it as, okay, I'll promote this as a graphic novel. And I just tried to learn everything about comics as I could, at that point in time. So I bought Brian Bendis's, I forget what the name of it, Comics for Pages or something like. Basically, his how to create comic books.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember the name of the book is, but he basically teaches you how to create comics. And I went through that in like a weekend, and I just learned how to write my own comic, and I put it on Kickstarter, and the rest is history. So it was literally, I just got backed into a corner, and I never looked back from there.
Well, I think we're all fortunate that you decided to transition. And here we are, several books later.
Yeah, sometimes failure is the best teacher.
I don't even know if I would call that failure necessary, but anyway.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Well, did you want to dive into some more of your examples from WindMaker, or would you like to take some more fan questions next?
Let's take some questions. I think those are the most important. Yeah.
Sure.
Questions. Yeah.
Well, as I said, we've got some kind of detailed ones, which may be a bit spoilery of plot for WindMaker. So let us stick to safer ones, such as, do the three of you ever get together in person? Are you close by, or is Zoom your main way of meeting?
I'll go first. So, I mean, I'm in the US and both of them are in Lagos, Nigeria. But I mean, every time I do go to Lagos, I mean, unfortunately, screw COVID. I haven't been since COVID. But for the people that do know, there is a Lagos Comic Con that happens every year. And before COVID, I had gone for every Comic Con since 2016, I believe. And every time I went, I had seen Sukomi. I think Morbi, have I seen you at Comic Con? No, I haven't seen Morbi. So, but I used to see, I saw Sukomi in 2016, 17, 18, 19, I believe. Did I see you in 19?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think I saw you I think maybe 16, 17, 18.
17, 18, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so so every time I go to Lagos, basically, I do see Sukomi. But ever since I met Morbi when right before COVID. So I haven't so I haven't had a chance to go since then. But hopefully now that things are changing, I should be able to go back and see. But I don't know if the two of you have met since this whole thing.
Yeah, I mean we have met. I remember I had done the first EXO book before I even met Roy in person. It was just this sometimes annoying voice on the phone. You know, oh man, we had a lot of fights back then. I mean, we won't call it fights, you know, but just
no, it was fight. It was fights. That's what it was.
But it was a lot of growing for both of us, you know, and hindsight is, you know, they say it's 2020. It was fun. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, that's how cool it was that, you know, I had worked with him for almost a year plus before we even got to meet face to face. By the time I met him, it was like I had known him almost all my life.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And that's how it is with Morby now. By the time I meet him, it'd probably be like that.
I mean, because I hear from you literally every week, every day when, you know, some pages and all that. So
yeah. And when he says he hears from me, it means like I'm always complaining. that's what it means.
I didn't keep those words. Yeah.
Part of the collaboration.
He's probably the most on-point editor I've ever worked with. If you go 48 hours, doesn't hear from you, he's gonna check in. And, what's up with you? Are you okay? I haven't heard from you. What's up with my pages? Yeah, you know. So when I work with anybody and they give me a lot of leeway, I don't hear from them for a week. I get antsy. You know, I like, what's up? I'm not heard from this guy in a week. Give me on me, because you know, yeah, Roy did that.
I need my pages, damn it.
Definitely.
That's why I'm always walking.
Oh man.
Well, right. we do have a question for the artists actually too. People are curious whether you work digitally or do you do physical pen and paper or a combination. What tools do you like to use for the comics?
I do completely digital now. When I started, it was paper. The first book was entirely done with paper. Yeah. But by the second book, I had crossed over to digital. I broke up with my paper girlfriends. Yeah, my pencils hate me. Yeah.
Those paper pages should take longer, though, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, and then if you make a mistake,
yeah, those were annoying because they were harder. They were harder to edit. The changes would take longer. Yeah.
So I do digital now. You know, Keep Studio, Photoshop. My two best friends.
Morby.
Yeah,
digital.
Oh, digital. I think colors have always been digital.
You paint. You don't do only digital, but
there's no
not
way.
commercially. You paint, right?
Yeah, I do oil paints, but not for unique stuff. For unique stuff.
I think a lot of artists we work with actually do things like that. You know, you still paint or draw on your own time or on other projects, but for comics, it can be easier, faster, whatever, to use digital now. And the digital tools have gotten a lot better too.
Yeah.
Well, so we do have some more, we have some interesting EXO questions too, actually. I want to have Roy get back to his images and topics as well, but one more for you from the fans right now. They're curious whether there will be more EXO stories coming out, for one thing.
Yeah, you can bank on that.
Yeah.
We
have 2 volumes out now. Hey, from Dark Horse.
Yeah. EXO is here to stay.
EXO, and for anybody who's joining us now, actually, I'm seeing some people kind of pop in and out. So for folks who are newer, we are primarily celebrating the new release of WindMaker today in the YouNeek line, but there are many other titles. We now have volumes 1 and 2 of Malika Warrior Queen, 1 and 2 of EXO, The Legend of Wale Williams, and also volume 1 of Ianu, Child of Wonder, but a second volume is coming soon. So there's a lot to read if you haven't yet. Also,
there's a whole lot.
There's a lot.
Yes.
With WindMaker, so I like what you were starting to talk about with, some of the details from your culture. So
yes,
to kind of get back into those tidbits, I think that's really fascinating.
Yeah, I'm trying to trying to figure out where I stopped. Yeah, so Yoruba culture is it's a staple in the WindMaker, because like I said, the Republic of Atala, it's a fictional nation, right? But the actual country itself is inspired by Yoruba culture. Like I said, Morbia, and Sukomi, we are all Yoruba people. Like that's where we come from. It's something that we're very proud of. It's something that we live every day. It's something that we breathe every day. It's something that's very important to us. It's something that we want to see more of in mainstream media. It's something that like even for me growing up as a child, like when you get to see someone like Peter Parker, experiencing, his culture in New York and being able to live that, like you fantasize about that, and you want to see your culture, you want to see that expressed in full, as a whole in superhero culture. You want to see that is what the WindMaker is, to us. So like I said, you would see little tidbits of that. Even in language, you would see different characters at some point speaking Yoruba. Obviously, it'll be translated in the comics, and it's not overwhelming in a way where it's like, okay, now all of a sudden, like there's 2 pages of people just speaking Yoruba, and you don't understand anything they're saying. But you would see characters, joke with each other. You would even see there's a scene where people are eating jollof rice, and they're talking, and they're like, oh man, this jollof is the bomb or whatever. Like, so the little interactions like that are things like if you're Nigerian, or you're West African, you would love to, while you're reading that, it is something that you would get goosebumps while you're reading that, whether you're from the diaspora or you're on the continent, or you're Caribbean. Like, these are things that as you're reading this book, like there's no way as you're consuming this content, you wouldn't, feel a certain way about it. And even if you're not from that culture, there's no way you wouldn't read that and there won't be a certain fascination as you're seeing and you're experiencing a different culture. Because even for me, when I was watching Spider-Man on TV, or I'm reading the comic and I'm seeing American culture, there is a certain elation getting to see Spider-Man experiencing his culture and seeing him happy and seeing him do different things, that I now get to experience when I'm here in the United States. So I think getting to see all these different things in WindMaker and getting to see a superhero in a different setting that is so different from anything that you've ever seen in any other comic book. Like I said, it's a fictional Republic of Atala. And you're putting a hero with a unique skill set in a different setting that you've never seen before. It is something that I feel like anybody from any part of the world is going to be able to experience in a different way. And it's going to give you a different feeling that you've never felt before. And that was the aim for me with creating the WindMaker. And I feel like if you're a genuine fan of fantasy, urban fantasy, sci-fi, if you're a genuine fan of this type of story, this is something that you're going to enjoy, regardless of where you're from.
Love it. We have another good question from the chat too, if you are ready.
Sure.
So they're curious as to whether we will get to see more of Bo, the new WindMaker, of his private life in this volume.
Yes, you're actually going to see a lot of this volume is actually going to be his private life. Like, you're going to see, this is very, very strong on his origin story. You're going to see a little bit of him as the WindMaker, but a bulk of it is going to be his everyday life. Now, don't get me wrong, you're going to see a lot of action set pieces and different things that are going to be very like high stakes and all that. But what I really wanted to do with this was not rush him into, oh, now he's in the suit and he's doing this and that. I really wanted to take my time showing him as, okay, here is this guy that starts out as the chief of security for this president, who starts out as a very decent man. He doesn't start out as the dictator. He starts out a very decent, beloved president who has taken this country from, a country that was just, pretty ordinary to like having the GDP as number 7, right? This is a country that, is very, very beloved in the entire world. It's like one of the most visited countries in the entire world, right? Next to Paris. So, obviously it's fictional. And this is like I said, a president that is at the height of, in terms of like his approval rating. So everything is going great. He's loved, he's chief of security. You get to see him in his high and everything. And then obviously things start to go sour. And it's like, okay, what do you do now? And then obviously he gets this power, right? And he loves this man. And he sees this guy obviously make this very, very drastic turn from democratic, very of the people to, I'm just going to do things my way, make unilateral decisions. I don't care about the people. I don't care about anything. I don't care about policy. I just want to do me. I don't care about anything. What do you do at that point? So somebody that was like basically like a father figure to you, he was an orphan. This is the only father I've ever known. What decision do you make then? Are you for your people or are you for this one person, right? So, but you get to see him in his everyday life, how he goes about his business and all that kind of stuff. So you get to see all those relationships. And it's a very heart-wrenching story because that's a very difficult decision, to make. So it's a very emotional story. It's not just about action, save, hero. There's tough decisions to be made. And you're going to see a lot of these dynamics between, internal versus external struggle. And I think this is what people are going to really, really love about, WindMaker Volume 1.
So for the artists here, do you have a particular character? Is the WindMaker a character that you enjoy working on, or are there others in this volume that are kind of your favorites to draw or to color?
For me, I would say Bo is actually my favorite character to draw.
Whatever, man. This changes like every book. Get out of here.
I mean, for WindMaker.
Oh, WindMaker. Oh, okay. I thought you meant like all the characters. Sorry. I was like, dude.
Man, I feel the bite marks on my shoulder from that.
I was like, I thought you meant like out of all the characters. Okay, all right. Sorry. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
Malaka is still my all-time favorite.
Okay.
Well, for WindMaker,
sorry, Malaka is your favorite because she's the easiest to color. That episode to draw. Sorry, that's why.
No, she's.
Yes.
I'm not.
Yes, that's why. And EXO is the worst because it's the hardest. Okay, sorry. I'm gonna keep quiet. Go ahead.
All right, so
I know where the beef is coming from.
This is what our conversations are like. So what I mean. So Bo is my favorite WindMaker character because he's very distinct. I love the hairstyle that we have for him. I love what Roy has put the character through in terms of how the character has been developed. From being, like he said, he's a decent man, but he has been somewhat willfully blind to what is going on around him. In a way, he's trying to preserve his decency, but then, with the advent of his powers and responsibilities that come with his position, I enjoy drawing the character through all these stages. And then, of course, I enjoy drawing him as, the WindMaker with all the action and the powers. Can't give away any spoilers yet, but I really love the fight scenes. They were awesome. Yeah.
How about you, Morby? Not to get you in trouble with Roy, but
I might argue that I think I like WindMaker's costume. Actually, it's really fun to draw. It's really fun to color. Like the color palette on it is beautiful. The reds, blacks, and the yellows. It works. I mean, so were you the one that designed the costume?
It
For
was
the,
Godwin.
no, for the new
Oh,
one,
okay.
it wasn't.
It was Godwin.
Okay.
Godwin.
Yeah, it's really fun to paint, and I enjoy painting one character, Annie. She wears an agbada. So an agbada is like a specific type of Yoruba clothing. So I really enjoy painting it because there's a lot of flowy stuff, and she does a lot of action in the comic. So there's a lot of flowy fabrics to paint and all that. So that's usually fun to paint.
Yeah, this is a really good book. Without giving away too much, I feel like this is one, and I know people are going to say, yeah, you always say this, but this is really one of our best, no, really one of our best projects, because it also shows, just as a team, our growth. Obviously this is, our latest book. And I think it shows, just as a team, like our growth, like even just me personally, my growth as a writer, and then obviously Mobi and Sukomi as artists. It's really, it has a lot to offer in terms of like just the art and the story. I think people are really, really going to be happy with what they get from this book.
Well, we have some great questions. First of all, you have some fans who know your books very well and are giving you lots of shout outs. So thank you, everybody. We do see you. And then we also have some folks who are kind of newer to this. So we're also seeing some really good questions, such as, can you talk a bit about how all the books are related, how WindMaker ties into the other titles, and do those come together at some point?
Yeah, so one of the biggest confusions that I want to clear up now is that I think it's obvious. There are two WindMakers. There's Bo and there's Baz, right? So Baz is a character from Malaika Warrior Queen. And I don't want to spoil, for people that haven't read Malaika, go and read Malaika. So there is a WindMaker in Malaika that is different from the WindMaker that's in WindMaker Volume 1. And that's all I can say for people. And I know that people are joining the YouNeek universe in different stages. So I want to be respectful to people that haven't necessarily read Malaika Volume 1. And I know there's a lot of YouNeek fans that have been with us since 2015, and they're going to be like, well, I read Malaika when it came out in 2017. It's 5 years now. Like, who cares? Like, so, but I can't just, just say whatever I want to say. I can't do that to people, because people are just coming in, like you said, so. But what I can say is that there's Bo, who is the WindMaker in Volume 1, and then there's Baz, who is the WindMaker in Malaika Warrior Queen. And for people that want to know what the difference is, like I said, go and read Malaika Volume 1 to figure that out. What I will say, though, is that we are coming up with a reading guide for you guys that are new to the YouNeek universe that will spell out, okay, this is how I should read in chronological order, to be able to figure out, okay, how you should, go through the books. But if you are confused in any manner, just read. If you want to read Malaika, go through Malaika Volume 1 and 2. If you want to read EXO, go through EXO 1 and 2. If you want to read Iyanu Volume 1, that's the safest way. Just go through each series from Volume 1. And go through each series in chronological order. In terms of how the books connect, that's the best way to read them now. Just go through each series individually. Each series on its own is an encapsulated story. They are siloed, right? So you can enjoy each series without, like, you don't have to read EXO to understand what's going on in Malaika, and vice versa. I didn't write them that way, right? So if you read EXO Volume 1 and Volume 2, you're going to get an enclosed story that you can enjoy without having to read Malaika. Read Malaika Volume 1 and Volume 2, you're going to enjoy it perfectly. It's an enclosed story. Now, if you read both EXO Volume 1 and Volume 2 and Malaika Volume 1 and Volume 2, you're going to now see things that attach to each other, and you're going to be like, oh, so this is why these two things are related. But it's not that they are joined at the hip and you have to be forced to read each other. You just get bonus points for reading them together. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. But then the reading guide, I promise you guys, just continue to follow us on social media. The reading guide will be out soon, and it will even make things clearer than I tried to do just now.
We are working on it. Shout out,
Yes.
by the way, to our design team at Dark Horse.
Yes.
We've been working on that. And, in addition to all of these folks and Roy's team at YouNeek, we also have quite a team at Dark Horse working on these as well. Shout out to editor Philip Simon, doing a great job. He's also working on the guide with us.
Yes.
Fantastic person and editor.
Yes.
Then Kathleen Barnett is actually one of the designers who does all of our graphics and things. So shout out to the whole team. It really does take quite a lot of people to put these
up. It does.
Yeah. But I am excited for that reading guide. We hope that, it will help introduce new readers to it, and just kind of, I know that it's helpful to have like a path through when there are a lot of books in a series, or,
and when you say, and just to even add a different point, like when you say fantastic work, I want to give people a sense of scale. We're dealing with over 1,500 pages so far of content when we talk about the YouNeek universe. So there's a lot of content, which is great for the fans. Like when we say there's a lot of content. So I encourage people that if you're new to this universe, I'm so happy for you, because there's a lot for you to get into, and I'm excited for you because you're going to enjoy every single thing that's in there. If you've just read Malika Volume 1 or just read EXO Volume 1, I'm also excited for you because there's a lot more to dig into. So if you guys are just coming in, you're already in, I encourage you to continue to dig in, because there's just so much more to get into. There's a lot of different Easter eggs to pick up on. So I encourage you guys to go out there into your local comic book shop, go out there into the bookstores, Barnes & Nobles, Books A Million, Amazon, everywhere books are sold, online, in stores. Please go out there and grab the books. And WindMaker Volume 1 is in shops today. So please, I know everybody's in the chat. If you can go out there and that's what matters, is getting the books, please. So continue to support YouNeek Studios. It means a lot to us. Thank you so much.
Man, you guys are getting a lot of shout outs in the chat. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in today on YouTube and on Twitch. We had another, we have so many great questions. We had a good one for the artists too. So yeah, Roy and I were just talking about WindMaker and how it fits into kind of the greater YouNeek universe. This is taking it back to kind of the beginning here. If Morbi and Sukami, if you wouldn't mind, folks are interested in how you got your start just as artists in general. Like, how did you get into doing art as a profession? Taking it way back.
Yeah, well, for me, it's way back. Professionally, I started in 2001. 2001. I got a job for a budding Nigerian comic book company at the time, and drawing a character called Aisha, which that comic book is defunct now. But at the time, I'll be honest, I didn't know how to draw the character. I had to draw the character was a female assassin. I didn't even know how to draw chicks, not hot one. So yeah. And but yeah, I took it as a challenge, and commercially, that's where I started from. I think I was paid. How much was I paid at the time? It was
don't say it.
It was terrible. But I didn't care. Yeah, but yeah, I started at Fabricas 2001, and yeah, I mean, right up till I met Roy, I had done quite a lot of comic books for a lot of different people, but the comic book client in Nigeria is quite different. It's not as stable. We still don't have a very secure, very reliable distribution system yet. So I did a lot of comic books for people, and a lot of publishers were struggling to get their books out in the market. So yeah, when I said I was a little disillusioned when I met Roy, I decided that okay, maybe I'll just take my skills and turn over to maybe game art or animation or something. I just leave the comic book world behind. Roy literally pulled me back in. At that time I just given up, not because they were in good gigs, but I'll say the biggest pride an artist has is to see your work published.
Yeah,
I mean, it's nice to get paid, but we all want to see your work published, you see your name in print, and that wasn't happening at the time, not as a fault of people I did the jobs for, but just the way things things were going. Yeah. So yeah, as far as 2001 up to now. Yeah. That's my story.
Yeah, so yeah, like I said, I didn't start, treating art like a thing to practice for a profession till like when I was in grade 10. That was around 2012. But then so I used like the next 2 3 years to brush up my skills, to so I think after high school, I started something, the portfolio I had then to Nigerian publishing houses, design studios in Nigeria and all that. So, but usually when I tell this story, I usually have to give a shout out to Ibrahim Ganiu. Is the CEO of is the founder of IC Studios. So it's at his studio that I got an interning opportunity there. So I spent a year and a half with him. So I was doing illustrations, for educational purposes. A little bit of comics here and there, but it was more of illustration for advertising and all that. But then I mean he pushed up my skills and all that. So I was ready to start, putting myself out there. So I think where I started getting attention was because I took social media a bit serious, just being that guy that when you're checking his Instagram and Facebook, all you see is, art and art and art and all that. So eventually just doing that consistently and showing promise and improvement just allowed it possible that a few people were reaching out to me to see if I could work in on their projects. And I can I can do what Sukomi does, but I found out that my strength is more in colors, especially for comic books. So when I found that out, I think this was, let's say, 2019, 2018 or so. So I just locked into that and just decided I'll be the color guy that can, really, really evoke emotions and tell stories with colors for comic books. So that's it basically.
Colors are incredibly important. So we
Yeah.
appreciate you.
Yep.
We had another super cute question. Maybe this one's more for Roy. From your longtime fan, 7-year-old Ezra. He wants to know if you'll have YouNeek action figures.
Oh man, Ezra. First of all, thank you so much for all your support. I can't tell you how much it means to me. It means to us. Honestly, it's because of people like you. We keep on going. In terms of action figures, I can tell you that it's something that I think about every day. Honestly, we continue to work on trying to at least get a cartoon first, because the only way we're going to be able to sell action figures is if we can have something on TV, because that's the only way the people that make the action figures are going to make them, because that's the people that control the action figures. They don't make them until they know that they can sell it to a lot of people. And the only way they can justify selling to a lot of people if they feel that a lot of people are seeing, your characters on TV. So unfortunately, if I had a factory that could make action figures, I would have made a lot of them by now. But Hasbro, Mattel, people that actually Funko, these people, they are the ones that control these action figures. But I promise you, we're working on it, and I promise you, soon enough, it's going to happen. And that I can promise you that we're working hard to make it happen soon. So just keep on supporting us, and one day you're going to turn on your TV, you're going to see one of our characters on TV, and you're going to go to Target and you're going to see that action figure on the shelf. So hopefully that happens soon.
That's the dream. Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. Keep reading, please. Keep telling your friends all about YouNeek. Some of my favorite things, Roy, I think you've seen some of these as well, but librarians have been discovering books like Ianu and sharing those and getting them in the libraries, and that really got the word out to more people. I love that. I love seeing that.
Yeah, and that's what I always try to tell people. And you know, I'm happy Ezra asked this question. Is like, because people always, you know, the funniest question that I get, and this is not an attack to anybody, you know, is that, man, you know, you should really tell Netflix to get your cartoon on. You should get your cartoon on Netflix. And I'm like, you think you think I don't want that? You think I don't want to get my cartoon? But I tell people that, you know, the only time Netflix or HBO or, you know, Amazon, like the time when these people come to you is when they find out that you sold 10,000 books, right? So the more you buy our books, the more you tell your friends about our books, the more librarians or order our books, or the more you go into Barnes or Nobles and ask them, do you have EXO or do you have Ianu? Like, the more books you buy, the more books you support, the more comic books you order, like the closer you get these books to being adapted for TV and animation. So if you want to see toys, if you want to see Netflix, option these things for TV and film, support these comic books, support these graphic novels. That's the fastest way to get them. But yeah, we're working hard enough, and Dark Horses, you know, they're helping, like these things that this is helping too. Dark Horse is working hard to sell as many books as well too. So we're all trying to get it there, and we'll continue to do that as hard as we can.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very true. We love to see all these things adapted in various ways and to make additional products and things like that. But Roy's totally right. It takes there being a big, strong fan base usually for something to kind of break into those other areas. So your support really does genuinely make a difference. It does.
Yeah.
So thank you everybody for tuning in today and for supporting YouNeek Studios and Dark Horse.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. We do have a great audience. We have a lot of people, you know, commenting and asking questions and just giving you all shout outs. So I hope you all check back on this chat when the broadcast is posted later on our YouTube channels. But for now, I'm going to say we're going to probably wrap up in about 15-20 minutes here. So if anybody has any additional questions, please feel free to drop those in the chat and our moderators will get those over to us. Meanwhile, I do have one other fun question. I'm actually kind of curious about this as well, Roy. Is Ianu the most powerful YouNeek character? Can we even,
that's a good question.
Is there like a power ranking for?
I mean, there is a ranking. It's just in my head. She's not, but
yet
she's not. But I would say it's a good question. But she's not. She's not. I mean, I can say who it is. Can I say who it is? No, I can't. I can't say it. No, I can't.
Like a no-brainer.
Do you guys know who? Do you guys know who it is? Have I told you?
I have a pretty good idea.
You don't need to tell me.
Do you have it?
Do you have an idea? Who it is?
Hold on. So come in. What letter does it start with?
M.
What letter?
I mean, it's like.
Hold on, wait, no. Sukomi, I'm asking you. What letter does the person's name? Eh?
Letter M.
Yeah.
No. She's not.
No, it is.
She's not.
It has to be her.
No,
she's not. Malaka is not. She's not.
Okay.
I can actually say that she's not.
Okay,
so that's good. I'm the only one that knows. I should be the only one that knows that. I should be. I was afraid. I was like, no, you can't know that.
Interesting.
Well, you're doing a good job then, like keeping your plot.
Yeah, I was like, my heart was like, oh, no, I should be the only one.
I'm in-house. I don't know.
And you've actually drawn the character. And he does, yeah. So yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. Now look at his head. His head is spinning. Look at his face. All right, next question.
Yeah, you got me there.
Well, so this one I like because I feel like it helps give people like more of a scope too. So do you have, the way I like to frame this is if you like X, like fill in the blank, then you would also like WindMaker.
Oh.
So if you could you
Oh.
recommend, like if people like a certain author or a certain show or a certain other book or comic, what would you say is a good crossover or related title to all the unique books?
I always have a mind freeze when this happens. Let me think.
Especially something, as a bookseller for a long, long time. And that's something that you kind of have to work at, I guess, is recommendations.
Yeah. So, I mean, WindMaker it's more like urban fantasy. So I'm trying to think. It's always hard for me to do this. I should have thought about this before I came on this.
I'm happy I'm not the one having to answer this.
Yeah, I know, right? I always freeze. I always freeze.
Okay. You didn't know I was going to ask the tough questions today.
I know, right? Crap, man. Let me think. Let me think.
What's WindMaker's favorite food?
Who could?
Let me see. I
mean, we can come back to it. Or
let's
update,
ask me another. Let me come back to this. Let me come back to this one.
It's it's can take a lot of thought to make a good recommendation. Well, I also like to ask folks, just what other things are you into? What are you reading right now that you would recommend? Anything comics or otherwise?
Reading. I always like when I'm writing comics, I don't read comics.
That's
like,
fair.
and I do that on purpose because I don't like to. I can't. And the problem is, like, I'm always writing comics, so I end up not reading comics for a very long time. But last time I read comics, like I was reading Injustice, which is such a good graphic novel series. My goodness! And then before that, I was reading Saga, which is just so good as well too. Have you guys read Saga? Oh, it's so good.
Not yet.
I did, but I think at the time I was stuck on the Birthright.
Oh,
like a fantasy. Really
I haven't read that.
Yeah. And
but
I've been reading a lot of X-Men lately, mainly because of the artists.
You're like so in love with that guy. I'm like, come on, like you, like every time every single day, you're just like, have you read? I'm like, dude, like, chill out.
I can't help it. His hand should be framed and put in a museum or something. Dude is, Yeah, but I like what do you call it? Talon. It's a Dark Horse book. It's about this guys that have animal totems. And then there's this guy whose totem is a tiger. You can only have one person can bear a totem at a time. I really love it because I hardly ever see any books about anthropomorphic animals. I just either tales or you just get animals, but like walking, talking, and it's not Kung Fu Panda. No, it's really cool. That's I love Dark Horse stories for that. My preferred genre of stories, funny enough, is mostly what Dark Horse kind of does. Swords, guns, djinns, magic.
Are you trying to score points right now?
No, I'm not. I'm not. I'm not the Capes and Tights guy. I'm not the Capes and Tights guy.
You're on a freaking Dark Horse stream. Come on, man.
No, but for real.
I'm just kidding.
But you know.
I know. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I know. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I like urban fantasy, and they have a lot of that. So yeah.
That is true. I mean, I'm the same way. I read a lot more horror and fantasy and sci-fi too, more than like capes and tights. But those are fun too sometimes. Morby, how about you? Do you read comics yourself, or are you more like Roy?
I'm going to announce this here. I just started watching Arcane.
Oh my
So
goodness, really?
yeah.
You just started.
Yeah. So it's really, really beautiful. So
That's like one
I'm
of the
learning
best
from
shows
that
ever.
recently.
That is
Yeah, I
such a
mean,
good show.
I can't even keep up. Like, so when you have this thing where you're like trying to freeze frames and like, oh, let me get inspiration from here. Like I should learn how to, do this color
Yeah,
scheme,
I
and
can I
there's
can give you
just
that.
there's just tons to learn about mood, lighting, and all that. So I've been on that recently, and I'm like, like literally this reaction. I'm like telling all my friends because all my friends are telling me that it's good, and I'm like, hype. I don't believe the hype, but I mean, I feel like a late comer, but it's all good. I'm taking my time on it, and I'm having fun on it.
Very cool. Well, and this is a good related question from the chat actually. So we're talking about, do you read other comics too, or would you recommend, if someone likes this, then they would also like
Hmm.
so someone's asking, is EXO similar to Iron Man? Would you
No, it's not.
quite different? We're going to talk a little bit about EXO. I know we're focused on WindMaker more, but talk a little about EXO.
So EXO, it's like I said, it's a sci-fi superhero story. It takes place in the futuristic Lagos, Nigeria, which is where we were all born and raised. And the story follows Wale Williams, who is a hero, as he he comes home after a 5-year absence, and he finds this super suit that his father built for him. But the twist is that Wale actually hates his father. And the story follows his journey as Wale tries to become the hero that he was always meant to be. But what Wale is going to be dealing with is his hatred for his father, because he doesn't want to put on the suits. It's like, okay, here's this thing that this man that I hate built for me. I don't want to wear it, but at the same time, this is the only thing that I can use to sort of like save the city. So it's this juxtaposition of the one thing that can save the city is this thing that this man that I hate built for me. So it's this internal struggle of forgiveness versus the whole thing of outward struggle of this external terrorist who is called Oniku, who basically has this mindset that he wants to sort of reset the city by destroying it and then rebuilding it from the ground up. But the crux of the story is the cost of unforgiveness. Whereas and if you notice, like for me, I have this theme in my stories where everything always boils down to one theme, whether it's like in the WindMaker is the cost of blind loyalty. With the Legend of Wally Williams, with EXO, it's unforgiveness. And it's like for me, like the chain that unforgiveness is that binds us is like for with unforgiveness, it's this thing that weighs on us. It doesn't allow us to move beyond the blindness of unforgiveness. It's like, okay, here's what's in front of you. You have to save this city, and there's a tool that you have to save the city. But because of this wall of unforgiveness, you don't want to do it. So in order for Wally to become the hero, he has to forgive his father. So the internal journey for him is that struggle of forgiveness. Until he forgives his father, he can't become the hero. So that's the internal struggle. But the external struggle is obviously him wearing, putting on the suit to obviously encounter and fight Oniko, who is the external villain that he has to face as well too. So that is the synopsis for EXO: The Legend of Wally Williams.
So EXO volumes 1 and 2 are both out now from Dark Horse, as well as the others we've mentioned along the way, Malaika, Warrior Queen, and Yanu first volume. You can pick up anywhere, as Roy was saying, and kind of enjoy each story on its own. And now we also have WindMaker, volume 1 out this week, which is our big celebratory title this week. We are nearing the end of our planned stream for today. So thank you everybody again for joining us in the chat and asking all these great questions. And also just for all the shout outs, like I said, I think you guys should go check out the rebroadcast later on and see the chat, because you get lots of great shout outs from all these fans. So thank you again, everybody, for joining us. I guess final call if there's any big questions, but we're going to start kind of wrapping up. WindMaker Volume 1 is available now in both comic shops and bookstores. We did get a question a little while ago. I'm not sure if you can speak to this a bit more, Roy, but folks are also wondering, as I kind of expected, how available these are in Nigeria, actually, or like more throughout Africa. Do you know, like, have we been able to kind of outreach there?
Yeah, we're working. We're working on that. Like Sukomi said, there's a lot of issues trying to figure out distribution in Nigeria. First of all, like one of the biggest things is actually shipping the books there. Just the cost to actually ship some of the books there is an issue. And then COVID has made it like just terribly hard to. It was already hard before COVID to ship, but now it's like it's even much harder. But we're working to figure out a way where, and I'm working with Philip on this way. It's like, is there a way to actually print the books there as opposed to shipping them there, and figure out, okay, just print it there and figure out some kind of way to work with local bookstores there. So I would urge people to just exercise some patience there. I know people have been asking and begging us to get the books there, and I would be frustrated too if I was a fan there. I will say that the YouNeek app does have the digital books available. So if you're in Nigeria, you can go on the YouNeek Studios website and you can subscribe to the app, and all the books are available there. We will be uploading the WindMaker, chapters there, starting this week as well too. So you'll be able to access the WindMaker as well too. So that is a consolation as well. I know it's not the physical copies, so at least you have something there. But we will continue to figure out a way to get physical copies there. And I want to apologize to you guys in Nigeria and Africa as a whole, because it's not that we're just ignoring you. It's just that the books are just extremely difficult to get there. But I will continue to work extremely hard to figure out a way to get the books there to you guys, some way, somehow as well.
That's a good point about your digital app, actually.
Yeah.
Of course, also has one, which I probably assumed earlier someone was asking about. Everything's also available. Everything Dark Horse publishes, we have rights to anyway.
Yeah.
Is on our app as well, Dark Horse Digital. Sometimes there are region restrictions, but everything should be on there. And then also other major comics platforms like Comixology, for example.
Exactly. Yeah.
So those digital options are certainly another option if you're having anything physical. And someone asked, is there a difference between the physical and the digital? No, it should be. It should be the same. It should have all the same content. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great point, Roy. You certainly know more about your app and how you release on there than I do.
Yeah.
Well, as I said, we're going to be kind of wrapping things up here, but I want to thank everybody again for joining us in the chat and participating. The rebroadcast of this, the video on demand, will be later available on our YouTube channels after this, as well as here on Twitch for a limited time. So if you missed the beginning of this, come back and start from the beginning. Thank you so much to the whole YouNeek team for joining me. Thank you, Roy, Sukami, and Morbi. For joining Dark Horse to chat about WindMaker and the whole YouNeek line today. I'm going to let, Roy, if you want to say a thank you and a goodbye as well, I'll stop talking and let you do your thing.
I just want to say thank you to, first of all, Sukomi and Morbi for being here today. You guys obviously know how much you guys mean to me, and for just all the work that you guys have put into all the projects so far. You guys have been excellent in everything that you do. I can't thank you enough. And obviously, Kara, like everything that you've done in terms of pushing the books and the whole Dark Horse team, that can't be here today. Obviously, you guys have been excellent in terms of pushing the YouNeek Studios books and, tolerating all my endless emails, reminders and everything. And to the YouNeek Universe fans, you guys have been the main reasons why we're here today. You continue to support us, you continue to buy the books, you continue to share, tweet, repost, and continue to support us in every way, shape, and form. Even before the Dark Horse deal, we've done 10 Kickstarters, all successful. And it's because of you guys that we are here today. I just want to say a huge thank you to everybody out there. The best is yet to come. We have some amazing announcements in the future. You guys there's a lot to be excited about. And I can't wait, to share more with you guys. And yeah, see you when we see you. And the comparison, I guess it would be like, sorry, if you like stuff like, I would say it's like Legend of Korra meets like Batman. Like, so Legend of Korra in terms of, fun, but like a lot of political intrigue. And then Batman, like very grounded, gritty, brutal, stuff like that. So mesh those two things together. Sorry, that just came out from nowhere.
Yeah.
But I thought about it at the last minute. My goodness, I don't know where that came from. But thank you guys so much. I appreciate you guys for being here.
Yes.
Sorry, I got it in right. So yeah.
I love it. I mean, I kind of want to ask Suki if they agree, but I don't want to start another fight. But I like that as our conclusion. See it continue in social media if they have different opinions. But thank you again, everybody, for joining us. We are going to sign off for today, but Dark Horse Comics we stream every week, so catch us on Wednesdays. We also have some other exciting streams coming up. We have a big Earth Day, Arbor Day celebration with the Burger Books crew coming up later this month on April 29th. So we'll be back. Join us live or catch the rebroadcast later on if you couldn't do that this time around. So thanks again, everybody, for joining us. WindMaker Volume 1 is out now in comic shops and bookstores. So please pick it up and tell all your friends. And we will see you next time. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, guys.